Welcome back to another episode of SimSundays. We're on episode 41, and this time we get to interview a Red Bull Esports driver and also someone who happens to be on, I guess, the panel, I'll say, for the F1 game. We didn't get to, unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of information out of him on that one, though.
Well, he is and Dirk, if you're listening, this is not to slight your driving. You're a very good driver, but he is a Red Bull content creator, not a Red Bull driver.
Not a Red Bull Esports driver.
Yeah, Red Bull Esports driver. I'm not saying that he's not fast. I'm just saying that he is a content creator for Red Bull. Maybe one day he'll be a driver. I don't know. But we've been working with Dirk for a little while now on the F1 content creator series. We're doing a little grid finder integration partnership thing with them, which has been exciting. So we've been able to speak to Dirk quite a lot, and he's a lot of fun. Just talking to him about anything is a lot of fun. So this is a good episode.
His personality is just infectious, and his story's pretty amazing. Because we've now started doing this thing where we want to find out about the people we interview outside of the world of sim racing first. And his story, man, that guy, he must have more hours in his day than I have in my day, because he is a busy bee. Yeah, that's for sure.
He is not a man who suffers boredom whatsoever.
No, probably. What's the opposite of boredom?
Excitement.
Overwhelming.
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
He's constantly engaged. He's constantly stimulated.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, enjoy the episode. There's some really cool bits about like how content creators interact with these big brands once they quote unquote make it. So enjoy the show. Thanks for being on the show today, Dirk. We've just decided that we're calling you Dirk, or at least I have. Stay on brand,
Stay on brand. Let people find me a little bit easier if they need to do some research. It's a pleasure to be on. Apologies, I was a bit tardy today. I double booked because I forgot another world existed for me.
Well, that's okay.
But it's
Tom is the king of double booking, at least for SimSundays. I've noticed in the past. So
that was one time I was really gutted last week. I missed the Dan Suzuki episode because I was in San Francisco and I got my time zones messed up. Well, time zones and day. So even if it was the right day, it would have also been late. so yeah, I was really sad to miss that one. But I haven't missed this one. And Dirk, I just want to put this out there, right? So I was loading up a load of tabs earlier, your YouTube, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, just to have a little look through, just to kind of, remind myself of everything you've done. And Twitter has really entertained me. So I've gone onto your Twitter page.
Why?
And it's obviously got your header and your name and Red Bull Racing content creator, Twitch partner, blah, blah, blah. And then, down the side, it says, you might like create a series. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
James Baldwin. Oh, okay. And F1 trolls.
I wouldn't say I'm that far on their level.
How does that make you feel?
Do you know what? Good. It means I'm doing something right. I am the least serious person, I think, when on the F1 side of things. Like the guys that stream F1, there's some hardcore guys on there, and for me, I am the least serious. Yesterday, I was thinking I was singing the Spice Girls on stream at one point.
Nice.
So DMCA.
No music could be heard. It's all good. Or could it? No, it was Wannabe. Someone just said, I said I was going to put on some bangers, and someone said Spice Girls, and I was like, all right then.
There you go.
Slapped it on.
Nice. What is this whilst you were racing? What was Wannabe an accompaniment to? Which track? Because I want to know if it goes.
It was me saying, right, boys, I'm going to get serious with this. Let me put in some bangers on so I can concentrate. So that came on. So it was just before the race, just to get me in the mood before I started, actually doing this. Because I do long races as well. I don't do short races. Mine are usually quite sweaty.
Why? Okay. Why do you prefer long races?
I don't. So I used to do. So if for anyone that watches this or plays the games, especially for the guys on Twitch, people do love their 5-lap lobbies or maybe 25% races. They're quick. You get through quite a lot of tracks, and I used to do it quite a lot. And then I did an 100% race, and I was like, this is just way more a bit of me. I like
okay.
that side of it. It's long. You have to think differently about how you drive. It's not about just going quick. You have to be consistent. Strategy comes into play, and a lot more can happen with it. And I just thought, you know what? I really enjoy this more than having to churn through loads of races. So I only get through like 1 or 2 races a stream. Not much.
Oh wow.
But what happens then, right? So I did a little bit of streaming, a little bit, not very much, a little bit, right? I dabbled, and the worst thing, even on like a 5-lap race, the worst thing that can happen is an online 5-lap race. You go into turn 1 and you lose a wheel, and you're like, So now I've got these 4 people watching me, and I need to somehow either watch this race as a spectator for the next 4.5 laps, or I need to back out of the lobby, find a new lobby, get in, which on F1 it's not an easy process.
It's not.
So is there not a risk if you do 100% race and either you lose a wheel or you lose a front wing and then you're racing around on your own? Like, how do you deal with that?
So I'm going to answer your question with another question.
Oh, politician. Okay. Alert.
Let's say you're doing a 100% race and it's 60 laps and you DNF on lap 59. Which one do you prefer?
Ooh. What, as in, what would I prefer? To DNF on lap 1 or to DNF on lap 59?
Yeah.
So if I had, my 4 viewers who'd have been watching, I'd have preferred lap 59, right? Because then they've committed and there's a bit of drama at the end, right? But it would have killed me inside. Yeah. Especially, that's a lot of that's like an hour and a half on those tracks, right?
There's the risk factor, which is again part of the fun of the 100%
playing with fire, man.
Playing with fire, so you can definitely DNF on lap 1. So as you know, I do run the creator series, and that's 100% races. You have drivers like Dale who DNF in lap 1 of a race. Yeah, it's mostly Dale. So they DNF in lap 1. It's like, what are you gonna do now for them? Because it's like 2-hour-long races. They're long.
Yeah, you're just gonna like spectate.
Yeah. So
okay, this is now a watch along.
It basically can turn into a watch along. Or some people are like, all right, okay, I guess plan B, let's go and do something with the community and do some stuff with them. So it depends on who you are. Some people might end their stream. But yeah, that's the part of the fun though. It's just kind of like you need to manage that risk to make sure 1, you don't DNF on lap 1, but 2, you make it to the end of the race, because making it to the end of a 100% race alone is genuinely an achievement. Because it's hard. it's really hard. So much focus needs to be gone. Usually, like, you get about 78% through the race, and then your brain just goes away.
I do want to dive into the F1 content creator series, because I've said this to you many times before, but it is my favorite thing to watch on Twitch, and for many reasons. But I'm not going to say I want to talk about it later and then talk about all things I want to talk about now, so that I have to cover them again later, which is often what I do. But I want to go back to the beginning. Young Dirk. Young Dirk's at school. What's young Dirk at school like? What's he doing? What does he like to do? And was there like a twinkle in young Dirk's eye that was motorsport and sim racing? No, he's shaking his head. I don't know if you're shaking your head at what I'm saying or the question.
No, okay, we dived that far back.
We're going all the way.
I've had a strange upbringing, I guess, because I'm not actually English born. So I migrated over when I was very, very, very little, like 6 years old. And during school, all the way up to university, I was into my sports. I played football a hell of a lot. I played at a decent level, went to university on a football scholarship, actually. And there I played, and I stopped it then. But at the same time, I also did a lot of water activity. I was a water activity instructor. I could sail, kayak, canoe.
So you got into university on a football scholarship, and then when you got to university, you stopped playing football. Did the university keep the receipt for that scholarship?
So,
I'd be furious.
Before I wasn't going to go to university. What happened was I tried out for a few teams, Premier League teams, and I missed out by the narrowest margins. And it was a question of, okay, I have to commit to either football for another year and see if I can get in, or go academically. So I went to focus on studies, and I went to university to study a course called Air Transport Management. It's an aviation business degree. But the choices that I had, one of them was Loughborough University, and they are the number one university for sport in the world. Yeah. So when you kind of line up studies and then sports, and they kind of know that you play football, they just kind of go, okay, come and give you a sponsorship, a scholarship. So that's how it happened. But you get there and you think you're good.
No.
And everyone else is good, and then you're like, oh my god, this is I played for a couple of weeks, maybe 2 months at most, and the level that these guys play at, it's like, imagine you're at 100%, but you have to stay at that level the whole time. It is crazy. So it just kind of clicked that for me to ever make it into football, to play on that level the whole time, it's going to be so difficult. And I just kind of went, it's not going to work, so I'm just going to stop. I still play football, I just kind of stopped playing at that level.
Sounds like you didn't love it enough, or as much as you thought you did.
I loved the game. It was just, I just accepted the fact that the level jump to get to the next stage, it was I think just outside of my reach. As much as I would have loved to, it was just outside, so it didn't really work. And then I picked up judo.
Of course.
So I competed at that national level, I guess, at highest. Got a good few medals. And then but at the same time, motorsports was something like, I didn't get a chance to watch it until really post university. I played games. I played the F1 game since F1 2013. So it was always there, but it really stemmed from, because after university, you go into the real world, and the real world is very different from university. It's all work, no play. So I've always been a gamer. And me and a bunch of friends started streaming League of Legends, actually, and then Valorant. Nice. So that was the first thing I started streaming. And then after that, we're trying to grow. And a friend of mine basically suggested that I try and stream F1 instead of everything else.
Oh.
And that's kind of how it started. And I found that community was just so welcoming. Everyone just tried to help you. I really enjoyed the racing aspect of it, and it was just like a really nice getaway from the work world. And then since then, I just stuck at it, and here we are.
You know, the difference between like a League of Legends or I'm assuming Valorant or any shooter versus a sim racing community is night and day. So shooters and I'm assuming League of Legends are very toxic communities, and people will literally stop in your chat just to be mean, and that's it. That's the only.
Do you know what?
It's
somewhat so accepted now that I remember I hadn't played League for a while and Valorant for a while, but I remember I jumped back into League just one game, and it was instant toxicity, like the worst things, and I was like, nothing's changed.
I had the similar situation with Rainbow Six Siege, because I loved that game when it first came out, and then it just kind of fell off after a while. I moved on to other games or whatever, right? So I went back to Rainbow Six Siege, and I experienced the same thing. Like the first map that I got loaded into, I got kicked instantly, and I was like, maybe they're just running a team or something like that. And then the next one, I didn't wipe the rest of the team, but all my team died, so they kicked me because of that. And I'm just like, what is going on here?
It sounds like CSGO, clutch or kick.
Yeah, clutch or kick. I can't even play the game because, well, they died first, so how am I the worst one out of this equation here? But,
it doesn't make any sense, but just FPS games are brilliant for that. The Valorant really is somewhat... I think it's Riot Games in general, but Valorant is an interesting one because you know what you're going to get. And sometimes you'll go in and everyone's mean, like saying the worst things to each other. And end of the game, it's like, great game, guys. I really enjoy playing with you lot.
It's like
have fun. It's like you go in,
you're just there, like tears streaming down your face. Like this is the worst experience ever.
But it's somewhat knowledgeable. It's like you know what you're getting, but you either take it or give it back. And at the end of the day, you're all like, just sometimes when you get the right people, you know what you're getting and you know you're giving it, but you know it's just all good fun at the end. Sometimes, not all the time.
But right before we move on from uni days and these early days of streaming, I have a question, okay? Because I haven't been able to get past something. You are the only person I've ever met who studied air transport management at university. What is that, and why? Like, why, when you were a kid, were you like, you know what, I want to do air transport?
It's
because
not what I
in my
wanted
head,
to
I'm
do.
thinking like Microsoft Flight Simulator or like the Top Gun games or like what was it, Ace Combat? I used to love Ace Combat as a kid, and I can imagine these games perhaps making me want to go and fly or do flight management.
So I was a cadet when I was younger. I was an air cadet, and I learned to fly when I was very young. Not very young, that's a lie. When I was like 17, 18 years old, I got a chance and I was very good at it. And then I got hit with the bug. Only problem is, if anyone that knows the aviation industry, to be a pilot, you need an absolute fortune. So in my head, I went, I need to find and get into the best job I can possibly get while still enjoying the industry and kind of save up. The saving up part never worked out, by the way, but save up to be a pilot at the end of the day. So it was, I didn't want to, I wasn't smart enough to study aero eng. I just wasn't. I accepted that, but business I could do. So we studied that, and it's it was just, it's an aviation degree at the end of the day, and it was just to line up the and it worked out. Don't get me wrong. I ended up in the industry. Actually, used
cool job.
The job, well, yeah, I used to charter private jets.
It sounds pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
Also, the name of this company, Veloxis,
yes.
Veloxis.
It's a bit weird,
it just
it?
Oods class. Like, I can't even say it because I don't know Latin, right? So I don't know how to pronounce this. But I imagine, like, if I'd been to Eton and knew Latin, I'd be able to say this. But Veloxis.
Yeah, my friends, if they ever listen to this, will be mocking me because I used to answer that phone even when I'm like stream. Hello, Veloxis Dickens speaking. Like it became a meme between my friends. But yeah, I used to. That was my first job out of university, which is, it's a bit of a. But I worked like an absolute workaholic. I worked 24/7. It was grim. I worked every day of my life.
But did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I honestly did. What's there to complain about messing around? Basically, they just give you loads of jets and they go, sell these. If you're good at selling them, all you're doing is just messing around with jets all the time. It's just, you got your client base, and when I'm quite extroverted, as you may kind of discover very quickly. So when you've got a client base that's just like, I don't do any of this business stuff. Just call me if you need to fly somewhere, and then it just becomes that. It's like, Dick, I need to fly somewhere. Yeah, sure, I'll sort you out. Let me see what I can do.
That's nuts.
Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, jet will pick you up at this place at this time. I'll be there to.
Also, I imagine, right, it's probably not too much of a stretch for me to assume that if you're the sort of person who's even considering chartering a flight rather than just like, booking a seat on a flight that's already planned, then you've probably got enough money to afford it. And so the sales part of that job is probably...
It was, you know what? It wasn't as lucrative as you'd think it was.
Okay.
Just because the business takes the most of it. But... as a first job out of university,
that's pretty sweet.
It was very, very good. I hit the nail on the head when I left university, but I lived in London at the same time, so it balanced out.
Well, I mean, you and I both started off our careers trying to be pilots, and
Did
we
you?
both ended up in sim racing. So look, maybe there's something in that.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I actually joined. Well, I went to the careers office, joined the army. I was in the army cadets at school, but the recruiting officer wasn't in. So the Navy recruiting officer came out and said, "Do you want to fly jets?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll fly jets." And then I got a few months into the training, flew some grobs, and then they scrapped all the jets. So I drove ships instead. So, but I do have a question about flying though. I flew that grob back in 2010. Yes, the grob tutor, and we did tail chasing, aerobatics, like formation, takeoff and land. It was so much fun. But I've never forgotten it. Never. Like, it was a life-changing experience, and I am now deep into the Amazon pit of flight simulator gear that I'm very tempted
It's on my left at the moment.
to invest in. So my question is, have you dabbled in any flight simulation? This is technically still SimSundays. We never said it was racing sims.
You can race jets, right?
We definitely did.
I've had every single one since my flight simulator 2004.
Oh, so the answer is yes.
Yeah, I've been in it for a while.
You've dabbled.
Yeah, I've dabbled in a little bit.
And do you stream it?
I did a little bit, but and they're pestering me to do it. So I do, if you know, I do VATSIM and stuff like that. So the VATSIM, if anyone doesn't know, it's
so I was looking at Arma 3 and DCS was about as hardcore as I found.
DCS is the pinnacle of flight sim and combat flight simulation. I play DCS and I play flight sim a lot. Like if I'm not racing, I'm flying.
Okay. Right. I'm gonna be in your DMs for the next few weeks asking for recommendations.
We'll do a cockpit shared flight, or we can jump into DCS and do some combat flying. I would be happy to.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we've covered that for my own like personal selfish reasons. I'm very, very excited for this podcast to now end, so I can ask you loads of questions about flying.
Oh, man.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit, right? Because lots and lots of people have tried streaming. Lots of people have dabbled in streaming. Yeah. You did a bit of F1 with your friends. You said. You're now a freaking Red Bull Racing content creator, okay? So I'm assuming there's a few steps between, I tried some streaming with some friends, and you're now a Red Bull Racing content creator. Like how has that happened?
I don't know. I got lucky.
Oh, come on. Come on. No, don't be modest.
So I got lucky. I'll be honest. It's a lot of things lined up for me. You know what? There was the person that got me in. His name's Luke. Top bloke. He's the one that started off me with Red Bull. And I said to him I got lucky. And he said to me that you engineer your own luck, and it's something that stuck with me quite a lot. You engineer your own luck. If you're sat there on the sofa doing absolutely nothing, nothing's going to happen. But if you're always constantly working towards something, the chances of something working out for you skyrocket. And that's really struck with me. So I think for me, I have got lucky, but at the same time, I've always kind of been in a position where things can align very nicely to work out that way. And in this case, the alignment was I had a good friend, Marcel Kiefer, that was at Red Bull. That was an esports driver for Red Bull. Had a good friend, F1 Ellie, that joined Red Bull. They both were saying, you should look at him, you should get him in. Then work knows that I really like Formula One. Then they took me to a Formula One event because I had good quarter, so they're like, this is your reward. And it just happens that weekend, Red Bull Racing, Marcel and Ellie were at Silverstone. And I was like, let me go link up with them. Let me go chat and just catch up. They just happened to be streaming, and Red Bull just happened to be watching. That was the line of events that led up to them going, oh, they got along really well. Let's see if we can. And honestly, very cool. I just got a DM saying you look good in Red Bull, and I was like, they said you'd look really good in Red Bull, and I was like, I think I'd look really good in Red Bull as well. And that's the whole series of events that led to it. So
that's such a cool story. But Luke was right. You engineer your own luck. You put yourself in those positions. Like you made an effort to go and then go and meet them when you were actually there at the track, and then you hung around while they were still streaming. Like,
it's just
good for you, man.
I got lucky, but it's, as I said, it's engineered luck. And for me now, it's weird because this was the end goal, but it's not. It's the start of everything else.
Okay.
And I'm in a position where, for the first time since I started streaming, I'm comfortable, which sounds wrong, but I mean comfortable in that I'm happy where I am. I know that there's loads of doors that have been open for me, and I'm constantly trying to smash them down to see what's on the other side. And I'm trying my best to now try and give back into the community that gave me quite a lot, both mentally and with streaming. Because it's always like my mental escape, hence why I do it. It's like when I'm stressed with work, I go stream, I forget everything, I come back, I can deal with it. So now it's just in the position that I am just trying my best to showcase what other creators can do. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but Mr. Dale JE, he had his daughter on stream once, and I was pestering Red Bull. And I was like, you need to, because they're a Red Bull fan, they're a Red Bull family. And I was like, you need to see this. This is the cutest thing. Little 3-year-old and his son, are like they're all driving together, and it's beautiful.
I'm watching it now.
That's amazing.
And
yeah, that is very cool.
They saw it, they loved it. We got her on stream with us. So we had Dale and his daughter. She drove. She won Monaco, by the way. What? She was driving. It was crazy. I was like, this is amazing. And it's gotten all the way to the top. Christian Horner sent them a video just giving them some love and praise. And I'm just there thinking, like, we are the people that are with the F1 teams as content creators have got so much possibilities of what they can do, and that's just all I'm trying to do now.
That's very cool. That's some serious wholesome content. And
it's actually beautiful.
It is beautiful. And I was about to ask, actually, like, so I've watched a lot of your streams, and so I've seen stuff that you do, and I've seen the stuff that you do for the F1 content creator series, and you wear the Red Bull merch, right? Or maybe not merch, like the kit. You're wearing it proudly now. But what does it actually mean to be like a Red Bull Racing content creator? Oof. Like, how does your week look different to an independent streamer? Like, how do you have to do anything different, or do you have any like commitments?
So there are commitments with Red Bull. There are certain, I have to make sure I'm active. Basically, my contract is very open to interpretation in terms of what I can do, but it's just making sure that I stay active and stay in a space where I can still be seen, because at the end of the day, it's marketing.
Right.
At the end of everything, it is marketing. But for me, and what I proposed and how I've positioned myself is I can put eyes on the team where esports, especially for Formula One, it's seasonal and it's only once a year.
Yeah.
The rest of the year, nothing's going on. So why not have someone on board that can consistently be putting eyes and doing activities? And it's not just me, it's Ellie, Pondon as well. Pondon actually right now is in Australia. He is Australian anyway, but he's at the Australian Grand Prix covering some
Very
content
cool.
for them. Be live streaming for them. And that kind of intertwines with Red Bull Racing, but with the esports team, just to showcase the whole picture. So it's a lot of, for me, the best thing is that you have access to the teams and they actually want to help kind of showcase more. And we can, as a fan, I want to show way more than what we can actually see just on F1 TV or Sky Sports or wherever you watch it. So it's just giving that access. So in comparison to independent team is just access to F1, because it is such a high barrier of entry to see anything behind it. So why not just showcase what we can't normally see, but what people would love to see?
Does it make you feel differently about what you're doing, knowing that you're now doing it as a representative of something else? 'Cause when you start off, you're doing it, and it's very much you streaming for your community, and now is there any sense that that's been diluted at all?
No, no. Like everyone that's watched me will know where like my stances are. How I'm very expressive. Let's say.
Mm-hmm. You don't tone it down.
I don't tone it down. I do now. I do now. Before I didn't. But no, it's you. At the end of the day, I'm part of Red Bull Racing, and
which is a cool thing to say, right?
It doesn't sound real, honestly, but it's with that comes the fact that I'm part of the team. Essentially, they have been they get a lot of negative outlook on a lot of stuff, but they have been so welcoming and they understand what we do on the content creation space, and they want to help as much as they can. And with Red Bull Racing as well, it also opens up the whole Red Bull family. And I've got Red Bull UK that keep an eye on the comment and stuff. And it's crazy. It's like crazy.
You know what they also have?
Go on.
They also have an aerobatics team, right?
They do. I've mentioned this.
So I mean, I think there's a legitimate crossover there for some streaming.
Yeah.
There's some flying in here somewhere.
They asked me if there was if you can if you could do anything else, what would you be doing? And I was like, oh, I'd be a pilot as a Red Bull Red Bull Racing aero team, like one of them guys, because they have the coolest thing. I'd do it in a heartbeat if it came up.
It looks nuts, doesn't it?
It's crazy. And they've got the museum as well in is it Spielberg? I think it is. But at the base. So I want to go there. It's just there's a lot of things that I've lined up nice. There's content to be made. I'd like if they said there's an air race going on, do you want to go? I'd be like 100%. I'm there.
Why wouldn't you?
No way of saying no. But yeah, it's just access, and they've been very welcoming, and they've within the time that I've been with them, they've given me a hell of a lot. And it's just everyone in there is lovely as well.
I can't go into that in a bit more detail then. Like, what have they given you? Like, do you have like a? Because I'm really intrigued by how this works. Is there like a team meeting, like where all the content creators from Red Bull get together on a Monday morning? It's like, right, guys, what we're doing this week, and make sure you fill out this health and safety documentation, and have you all filled in your holiday leave for August? And do you know what I mean? Like,
I know
like how kind of procedural is it?
So I had this conversation with a couple of the content creators myself, friends of mine. It's led by us, for the most part. What people, I think, assume is they know what they want and they know what they want to do, but they don't. They have an idea, but when it comes to content creation, people forget that we're the creative ones. We're the ones that try and figure out what's going to work best. We're not always right, but we're trying. So we're there to basically go, we need to do this, this, and this. This will be great. This will pop off. This will like, let's do, I don't know. For example, the IRL streams that they do all the time stemmed from Ellie wanting to do IRL streams, and now they're like, oh, that works really well. Now we're going to bring that on board and do that more. I've got my own ideas that I'm bringing on, which I don't want to say just yet because I don't know if I'm allowed to. But
top secret.
We've got stuff. We've got ideas that I'm like, this will work really well, and we should be banging this out like all the time. They've never said no to me as of yet. Really? Everything that I've come forward and said, I'd like to do this, I want to try this. They've just gone, okay, let's try it. And that's what I love about them.
Like, so when you say Red Bull Esports and Red Bull creative team and stuff like that, you think, okay, there's going to be a very strict, like, this is my weekly schedule. I have to do it this way. Because a lot of time when you hear about these partners and things that sign up with, say, Twitch, they're very specific on you have to stream this many hours. You have to do this many socials. You have to do this many events. And it just feels like that's the general way that most corporate level streaming and creative teams would be. But it's really refreshing to hear that like you actually still get to be creative. That's got to be very motivating for you as well, because now it's like an open whiteboard and you can do anything you want and they'll be on board with it. That's amazing.
That's why I am very, because I don't think it happens with a lot of teams as well. I think with Red Bull Racing, they know that the extremes are some of the things I do best, and sometimes trying to do things outside the book is dear. I did a live stream watching the F1 Esports. Bear in mind, in their operations room for Red Bull weekends that all the engineers and staff go into they're just like, well, to be fair, they said don't go into that room, but do it from the outside. So we went to the room anyway and did it. And it was like, it was brilliant. And it was just like, well, let's see what happens here. And the management were watching it and they were like, we absolutely love this. This is great. We should do more of this. So it's, for me, I think what's great is there isn't a benchmark, because there haven't been too many there's only been one other person prior, or two other people prior, that have been doing stuff for me. When it comes to create content, I can just say, let's try this. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's fine. We'll try something different. But they were always down to at least try it, which is great. And so far, it's been working out. But they have their own stuff. They have their own agenda as well. They have their own events that I'm asked to go to, or stuff that they want me to cover content-wise, which is absolutely fine. But when I'm not doing that,
it feels like those events, though, being a fan of Red Bull, and their overall, esports and sports in general.
Yeah.
They're events that you'd want to go to anyway. So they're like, hey, will you come to whatever this event may be? And you're like, well, yeah, I kind of wanted to anyway. So yes, please bring me there.
Definitely, it's never going to be boring. I think one of the first things I did for them as soon as I knew, I did one watch along stream for F1 Esports, and then the second thing I did was a presentation in front of like Red Bull Gaming Global, and like I had to do it, and I was like, well, they caught me off guard. They were like, "Oh yeah, just introduce yourself." Ended up being a full thing, and it just caught me off guard.
It was like a George Russell style PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, it really was in the middle of the Red Bull Racing Museum as well, with all the cars, and I was like, "This is crazy." So yeah, it's just a whole new world.
It sounds like there's a lot, right? It sounds like this is a full-time job, except it's not a full-time job. How come?
Right. Good question. And I think for streamers and content creators in general, the end goal is to make it their full-time job. I am someone that likes to always be busy, always likes to be doing something. Pretty sure you just added me on LinkedIn not too long ago, and you see that I have got a full-time job doing other things, but
you do a lot as well. I've noticed that you seems like you volunteer for a lot. You do a lot of courses. You're doing a degree at the moment. Like, you've been on like all the way through. Like university, you were on the students' union. You remember this board of trustees, this subcommittee of that, the affairs committee. Like, so yeah, you're quite clearly somebody who likes to be kept busy evenings, weekends.
If I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm absolutely wasting my time. So during the day, I am in meetings doing my job, day-to-day job, as absolutely fine. I actually don't even talk about content creation during it at all. It's just completely separate life. And then as soon as I'm not doing work, I'm doing that. So my week can be a week in the office. I work remotely, so I'm in the office, I'm doing meetings, I'm doing my job, and then, like, for example, during the Silverstone Grand Prix, it will be doing my job during the week, meetings, office, get my Red Bull stuff on, go to Silverstone, cover the Silverstone Grand Prix with them, just do interviews, paddock stuff, content, and on Monday back to work. But during that as well, in the evenings, I'm still streaming.
So, sorry, go on, Chris.
Are some of the other content creators full-time on it, or is it most of them also do their full-time jobs? And I ask because, a lot of the budding streamers that are coming up through Twitch, their whole dream would be like, oh, if Red Bull would sign me, I could do this full-time and this would be my job and I don't have to have that day job. But is it something that some of the creators are actually doing full-time?
Some of the creators I know are full-time streamers. Okay. It's the main thing, main source of income. And a couple of the guys I know have got full-time jobs as well. I think it just depends on the type of person you are. And I think it also depends on the circumstances that you're in, depending on whether you can like kind of be free to do so. For me, I know this is not going to be for the rest of my life. I know especially with like with the culture that we live in, it's I could get cancelled tomorrow. And then it's like, I'm done. I'm in a mess. So I always like to know, in my head, I'm always saying in 2-3 years time, it could all stop.
Sure.
But I still work full time. I've still got qualifications. I'm doing my degrees. So for me, I'm never going to be hopefully, I'm never going to be in a situation where I'm in trouble. I've always got, something else I can go back to if I need to.
I was about to say, you're never going to be bored because because you've got a full-time job, okay, and you're studying for a degree, and you're a Red Bull Racing content creator, and that wasn't enough. So you decided that you're also going to start the F1 content creator series because obviously you had 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there.
Right.
I don't know where you find this time, but you're like, obviously I need to cram more stuff in. So tell us how the F1 content creator series started.
Great. Yeah. Wow. So I used to do a lot of league racing. Used to being the key thing. And then I got annoyed with it because politics internally, people arguing. it ruins the fun out of racing, because suddenly you become, I just really want to race and just enjoy gaming, to I really don't want to be screwed over in this league, and it's emotions get involved. So I stopped all league racing. I got contacted by an external third party that said, "Oh, we can organize your own league if you want," and we took that on. Didn't really work out. Basically, what happened is all the drivers just created a coup and just went, "Do this yourself, or just run it yourself. We don't want to do it with this company anymore. Do it yourself." And I was like, I really don't want to. I haven't got the time. Can someone else do it? And they're like, "No, you have to do it." So then we created. It was called the Choco League before, and it was just me wanting to do 100% full races, 100% qualifying, and just race on a weekend, just because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I had a few friends that were content creators that did it, and then a couple more were like, "Oh, this looks fun, let me get involved." And then more and more and more wanted to get involved. Then at the end, I think halfway through the season, we just went, let's just call it the Creator Series or something. Let's just rebrand it, and let's just see if we can make content out of it. Because at the time, the Twitch scene was dying, and people were just losing love for the game. So we just went, okay, well, let's all do it, and let's just try and make content out of it. I just didn't realize it would go so well. Yeah. I really did not realize it would go so well. So what happened was, rebranded, we created the Twitch account, we got Dubai was already a commentator before. We had Vince as well. Vince went off to Canada for a month. During that time, we rebranded. We got George Morgan, and you've done a
superstar
with an absolute guy's living his dream at the moment.
Yeah, he is.
Quality. So we've got two commentators, and Gareth Allen as well, who's another one. So we've got three commentators that are absolutely brilliant at what they do. So we've got that. We've got all the creators who all stream. So I think we've got 18 creators in there that all stream. And we're all in voice chat. And it's meant to be just chill. And it's just ended up becoming this absolute sweaty series of some of the best drivers and creators in there. But what's crazy is the racing is the best racing that I've ever had. But I think it's because no one wants to bin it. So we give each other just enough room. But we're within we're all with, if you look at the qualifying times, a couple of tenth splits. It's crazy.
Well, it's because it's being watched, and everybody's being watched from their own point of view as well.
Yeah.
So you can't get away with a dive bomb because people can flip between the streams and see exactly what's happened.
No one's
and they can even hear your emotions when you're going in.
I had my moment this weekend. I just lost my. After telling everyone to calm down, I lost it, and I was like, oh, great. But yeah,
I enjoyed your DM to all the content creators. It was
calm down.
Papa content creator telling off all the kiddie content creators for all getting angry in the voice chat.
But it's all love at the end of the day. It's just all these egos. Bear in mind, there's nothing at the end of this. It's not like you win a trophy or money to a prize. It's just ego. All of it is just ego. Who's the fastest of the week? Who's doing better? Me and my teammate of every week are just going at it in voice chat. Who's better? So, yeah, but it's also some of the most fun I've had on the game ever as well, because it's just become a load of mates racing together. It just happens that we all stream.
Right.
Yeah, that does sound like the dream. Actually, it's kind of like the perfect happy medium. You're kind of all being held to account because you're all streaming,
right?
Yeah,
but you still get that competitive edge. It's almost like it can only be recreated in a league that has a good stream. So a lot of leagues now will stream. They'll have their broadcast, they'll have a commentator, and I think as soon as you have a commentator, I think automatically, I don't know the stats on this. I haven't crunched the numbers, but I reckon a league that has a commentator is 30 to 40% cleaner than a league without.
Because no one wants to get called out, and then it gets clipped and shared and put out there, and you start to make a bad name for yourself.
Yeah, the commentator almost becomes the umpire.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it makes for some of the best numbers, though. I had a moment with GB, and he rear-ended me into the pits, I ended up in a wall and DNF'd during a safety car, and I just lost my mind. It's got like 1 million views. It's great. I was like, I'm clipping this and I'm going to make you famous. Don't you worry about that.
Nice. Yeah. I know it's Tom Brower's, the Tom Brower's clips that do the best are always the one where he just shouts no.
Yeah.
Essentially, Tom Brower just has to, like, even if it's not a crash, even if he just spins it, he just puts his foot on the accelerator too much, spins it on the exit to a corner and shouts no. I've got 1 million hits. People just love Tom shouting no.
To be honest with you, coming from like a driver's point of view, it's nice to see the high level drivers have those situations that you've been in 10,000 times yourself, where you're like, oh, they're just like me. Okay. They get frustrated. They get put into a wall. They get rear-ended. It's relatable now. It's just so much better to feel like you're not alone. That guy that gets punted off the track every single race that you're in, you know?
People love it when things go wrong.
It's drama. It's amusing to see other people's drama sometimes, so that you're like, that wasn't me this time. Nice.
Fortunately, for most of us, it is us every single week, but it's all fun.
Well, sim racing, it's most of the time because I'm an iRacing guy, so most of my races end up with some kind of frustration in there because someone did something or I did something, whatever it may be. So it's like you're always searching for that perfect race where you're like, no incidents, came out in second or first or wherever I might have been. That was a fabulous race. But it's almost like the drive to continue racing is just to find that perfect lap, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. I love iRacing, but mostly for the voice chat as well, because you get some quality voice chat. Oh my god.
You definitely, I bet as a content creator, you got to keep that mute button for voice chat real handy when you're in iRacing.
Honestly, I don't rage. Luckily, I don't rage much, and I try to be the nice guy in iRacing as much as I can. But because you can't just mute on F1 because we're all in Discord, it's just constantly on most of the time. It's like sometimes you just can't caught off guard. It's like you just Marcia starts going. You're like, oh, everyone can hear this. Great.
Oh, dang it.
Something I really like on iRacing is as you're gridding up, so you've got like a minute or whatever until the race starts, and you're gridding up and you're all sat there, and then about 30 seconds to go, the voice chat will start lighting up with people being like, hey guys, just remember, cold tires, cold brakes. Take it easy into turn one, guys. And then somebody else will be like, yeah guys, nobody try and be a hero. And then somebody else will be like, yeah, guys, just remember you can't win it on lap one. And then guaranteed at least two of those like 8 people that were imparting their wisdom will be the ones that freaking bowling ball into you in the first corner.
iRacing is so good for that. I am that guy. I am like, guys, can we make it through turn one, please, alive? And they're like, what do you mean? You win the race in turn one? And I just go, everyone's sending it. And you're like, oh, fantastic.
Oh, man.
But I love it. Sim racing community is the best gaming community I've ever seen so 100%. Far.
Yeah, confirmed.
So for that, I love it.
So you mentioned earlier how interest in the F1 game was kind of dying for a little while, and we're still a little bit in that conflict zone where people are very frustrated with like the cheats and things that are going on.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think EA needs to do for the 2023 game in order to, I don't know if it's keep interest or restore faith or maybe both of them? What do you think they need to do in this new game?
Okay. So I'm going to caveat my answer straight away. Reason being is, one, I'm very close to EA, and I'm also on the council, the design council, so I actually help them. Okay.
Sounds very Star
kind
Wars.
Kind of put focus. Yeah. So I know a lot of what's happening, but it's hard for me to, because I don't want to say something. Everyone's like, that's what's going to happen, because they'll take word.
We're just waiting for the clickbait here. Whatever you say, we're going to clip up.
We're just going to share it.
We're going to put it on Instagram Reels, TikToks.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid. No, I think the cheating aspect of it is something that needs to get a pin on, and they are working on it. They know about it. They're doing research on it. So for that, I can respect. But it is at a point where it's taking a heavy hit on a lot of people racing. So So it's one of the things that kind of stops me from just getting random people in anymore. I need people that someone else can vouch for, just to say,
you need confidence that they're not cheating, basically, at this point.
And that's not something that's been in the league racing scene ever until this point. So I think that's kind of hindered a lot of racing. And there's also some, like, because of it, it's caused a lot of negativity from like in the esports world as well. There's a lot of backlash from some drivers when it's, as I say, somewhat undeserved because of the whole thing. So that's one aspect. But for the future of the game as well, and one thing that I've always hammered on is, I think when we look at iRacing and our ACC, who have now got LFM, there is this grind. There's a reason that you want to get on and grind. It's the same. Let's put it bluntly. It's the same race over and over and over again every week. But it's the grind to be the best and the grind to try and gain more I rating, improve your SR. And I think something like that would do very, very well in the game in future games. So that's one thing. But I've always given it credit where it's due, especially for F1, in that it's graphically still one of the most brilliant games. Content-wise, it's got the most out of any motorsport game. So
the career is good.
The career is brilliant, and I think they just need to start expanding on that, making it more customizable. I'd love to see them, allow for more moderate, like, mods in the game to customize more and just kind of be free with it. But like right now, I'm grinding out co-op with Fabio every week. I love the competitive nature of it. I love that we're fighting together, but at the same time, I'm getting absolutely done dirty by the Ferraris ahead, and I'm there thinking we need to make our cars faster. So there's those aspects that I think if they just kept expanding on those, adding more features, make it more customizable, just kind of make it closer to, it's essentially making a hybrid F1 manager and F1 22. Just that would be brilliant.
That would be very cool.
So
I had an idea for a feature, right, that I'd love to get your take on. Right, for F1 2023. This is what I think they should focus on. This should be the next big release for the game. So tell me what you think. I would like to be able to play as Martin Brundle on the grid walk. Like, imagine, like, he walks through the grid, like GTA 5 style, and obviously bumping into people. And then he has to, he has to go up and he has to get the interview, but then the bouncer will come in and he's got to palm off the bouncer and get the question in before the next bouncer comes in. Then he has to go down and then he has to find Toto Wolff and he has to put the mic all the way up to get to Toto Wolff, and then Will Smith will be on the side and he's got to go over to Will Smith. That's what I want to see from the next game.
That'd be brilliant. And be the presenter. That'd be interesting, to be fair. I can see where you're coming from with that. It's just like
that was not the reaction I was expecting.
That'd be great. Imagine if you could. It would be very. You know what? Same thing. And if you had that as like the pre-event for the race. Imagine you have to interviews. You have to
chase after Serena Williams. She's not interested in talking to you.
Oh, the memes! If only. I just know there would be so many blockers to that. F1 would be like, nope. F1, nope. Don't want that. No, it makes us look bad. But imagine if they did content. That'd be content. That'd be hella funny for a while.
That would be good, wouldn't it? Anyway, that was just something I was thinking about for the game. I don't know if it will be this one or maybe next year, but
maybe next year.
I'm holding out for it.
Yeah, I reckon the devs are going to be listening to this thinking, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do that.
Bad idea, that. Not a bad idea at all.
Forget the cheat. Forget the anti-cheat. We don't need that.
Yeah, we need the grid walk, not the anti-cheat, right?
Exactly. Priorities. So here's a question, right? What do you play when you're not streaming?
Flight
Simulator.
Nice. Okay.
You know what? A friend of mine has recently given me a VR headset. And I've been on that a lot. And I've been playing a lot of Elite Dangerous.
Oh, nice.
Love
Big
that.
Fan.
I'm trying to get my flight sim to work better in VR because oh my God, I put it on, got it working, sat on it, but there's a bug where it crashes out.
Which VR headset do you use?
Oculus Quest 2.
Okay, that's what we have in the office.
Yeah, I've got it very much optimized. But when I was sat there, had it on, and I'm like looking around, I'm thinking I'm actually in the cockpit. This is crazy. And I used like everything to start the plane. I've got taxiing, and I was looking around. I'm like, this is actually nuts. Like this is crazy.
Very impressive.
Yeah. And I've used VR before, but it was Beat Saber or stuff like that. Nothing like in sim. I tried 10 minutes of ACC in VR, and I was like, I want to race like this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like
it's
so good. It's so good.
No, I don't want to change this.
So I got a Reverb G2 recently and really committed to trying to get it to optimize and all that stuff in all the games. Yeah. And now I can't race in triple screens anymore. I have to be in VR because I'm like, I'm in the car. Yeah. It's so much better to be in the car. Like I'll be at the grid and I'll be like looking around the car inside and like behind me and stuff. It's so crazy.
I don't think what people realize as well is how close sim racing is to the real thing. I mean, with VR, you've got it, you're in the car, then you've got your force feedback wheel. I've got the V3, so I can feel the rumble as well. So now you've got full immersion. Let's say you get emotion sim as well. At that point, it's like the only thing that you don't have is the danger of being in the hospital when you crash out. That's it. But everything else, you're pretty much on the G-forces as well. But everything else, you're pretty much feeling, and you're getting a sense of. I reckon if I got a motion sim on my rig, and then I put the next level racing feedback thing that they brought, I can't remember what's the HFA. I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. There's like what? How far can you go after that?
Right.
You're in the car, you're feeling everything, and at that point, I'm kind of like, if I want to just go race around the Nürburgring for a couple of hours, I'm just gonna do that, and I'd be so locked in. The only thing that would stop me from racing is the battery dying.
No, just plug it in. Just run a USB cable since you don't have to move in sim
gives
racing.
you about 8 hours at most, and then it still needs charging, unfortunately. But
okay.
Yeah.
I went with I had the Oculus Quest 1 for a long time, and I didn't like it because the screens aren't very high resolution, so you could like actually see the little teeny squares in the screen, and that drove me nuts.
Yeah.
But ever since I got the Reverb G2, it's a different world in sim racing. It's with the mirrors and like you can check your blind spot and just so many crazy things that you never think were valuable in sim racing. It's completely changed it.
You're gonna make me break my bank here. I'm gonna check how much, because I was looking at it and then I got the Quest 2 and I was like, this is fine. But the Reverb G2 I'm looking at now.
The Reverb G2, I got it off of eBay for like $350 or something like that.
What?
Because there's a bunch of sites that'll do refurbished units, and I mean they're just repaired, but whatever. But for $350, I was all in.
More like the HP refurb.
Ooh,
I think I might have to have a look at this.
That thing changed everything for me because, well, you're wired in, so you never worry about battery, and then also just the optimization. Like you can't see the pixels in it, so that the resolution is a lot higher, and I love it.
I'm gonna have a look at that now.
I tried a lot of the new VR headsets. So I landed from Game Developers Conference in San Francisco this morning, actually this afternoon, like 3 hours ago. And when I was there, I got to test a lot of the new VR headsets coming out, and I think 2023 is going to be the year that VR becomes everything that we have been hoping it's going to be for sim racing.
So hold off is what you're saying.
Pro was very good, very like narrow, very lightweight, very like unobtrusive, because we have the Quest 2 in the office. It's quite bulky. It kind of like almost like leans down a little bit because of the weight. The Quest Pro was completely different. And then there were some other like challenger brands that I hadn't seen before, but they were incredible. Like really, really like slim profile, almost like ski goggles, but quite flat against your face, that were just incredible. And then some glasses, like sunglasses, but they like incredible. So I think 2023, start of 2024 is going to be the year for VR. That's my prediction based on what I saw last week. And for sim racing, especially for longer races, because it's not like, VR games where they're designed to last 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Like if you want to go and do a couple of hours of ACC, like the Quest 2, you're going to feel it after a while because it's going to be dragging down on your face. And the other thing I played on the Quest 2 War Thunder. So I was in like an old Spitfire.
Yeah.
And felt sick as a dog because I was constantly looking over my shoulder whilst I
Yeah.
was like flying around, and I was on my like spinny office chair. So the combination of the office chair spinning and the plane spinning and my head moving around, I was like, "Oh, this is absolutely
going on.
So
But every time I like whipped my head around to look backwards, like the thing was flying off. So, but yeah, I think I don't know if I'd hold off. I don't know. I don't want to say hold off and then nothing like of any
right now,
like,
Right.
I'm like
significance
happy
comes out.
because I'm like in that stage where I'm like, oh, I love this, but I reckon in a couple of months I'll be like, okay, how far can we push this?
Yeah,
At
I'm
that
in
point, I
the
think
waiting phase. The other thing is that I think with a lot of these headsets is you're going to need like the 5090 Ti to like run them optimally.
Okay, we'll upgrades as well. Okay, well, hopefully I need to talk to some company that's going to hand me a 5090 when it comes out.
Yeah, well, this sweet
You're
sweet
Nvidia.
Red Bull money you can pay for all this
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
right?
all that Red Bull money.
So what's on the horizon, Dirk? What's coming up? Like it feels like, you've been talking about certain content ideas, you've got a list of things, this place, that place. So is it going to be a busy year for you?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Last year was towards the back end got busier and busier and busier. Especially with the esports, I was covering quite a bit, so I was driving up and down the country quite a lot. And this year it's gonna be the same thing, but flying a lot, I think. And I can't say too much on that one just yet, but I'm sure once it's announced, whoever is going to announce whatever is going to be announced, you'll click on very quickly. But yeah, I think this year is going to be, for me, I think this year is going to be the best year of my entire life, just overall.
Okay.
Wow.
And what's possible.
Yeah, geez.
That's a big shout.
It
That's
is.
like title of the episode.
Well, any chance that you're gonna make it to Sim Racing Expo 2023?
I'm trying to go. A lot of the creators are going, I can tell you that now. I think I'll be going. I'm trying to get Red Bull there as well, but if they don't want to go as a unit, then I'll still be going because a lot of friends are going. So the likes of George, I don't think George going. I think George is going, but like a lot of the Sim F1 creators are definitely going. I know that iRacing lot will all be going because they're there, ACC lot as well. So for me, yes, I am gonna be quite busy this year, covering Silverstone, and I think a couple of other Grand Prix as well with Red Bull, just to show off their world. Which means last year I got VIP treatment with work, and then this year I've got paddock access with Red Bull, which is just crazy.
Damn,
that's amazing.
Cool.
Absolutely crazy.
That's amazing.
So I think we'll be doing quite a lot of that. And then I've got content ideas that I've shared that I want to do with Red Bull, which would be definitely unique to the industry. Both content creation and F1. So if I can do that, I think that'll go very, very well and it'll head off. But I don't want to say just yet in case another team watches this. Like, we're going to do that first in case
that viewers and listeners can actually keep up with you. Where do you want them to go follow you and watch you on Twitch and all that stuff? Share your channels.
So I stream most days on Twitch as DurkChocolate, and I'm on Instagram as well as DurkChocolate. It's not a lot. It's not the same name, which is annoying because someone else has got the same name. I'm working on it. But
the 2K, the double K.
Yes. But DurkChocolate on Twitch and Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, but I'm not as active. And I'm slowly starting to work on my YouTube again, but YouTube is
Dirk_chocolate on Twitter as well. God, you're having a handle nightmare here, man.
Some people just like the name. No, I'll work. I don't. So far, it's not been a problem, so it's been all right. But yeah, I'm all Twitch is my main thing. Twitch. If you want to see me singing a bit of Spice Girls every now and then, whilst I'm doing a 100% sweaty race.
Have you clipped it? Have you clipped the Spice Girls?
God, I hope not.
It's probably out there, right?
I really hope not. That needs to stay like dead somewhere, just not being picked up. But it's been good, and I think with the next game coming out soon, I will be covering a lot of that as well. I've got some plans with EA.
Exciting times
for the release of that. So I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be
Grid
busy.
Finder needs some information on that. So give us some info so we can get all of the leagues started and listed and everything.
I'm not allowed. I'm not even meant to know.
Yeah,
I'm not
right,
meant
right
to know
now,
anything.
Just
right
a
here
little
on the
introduction
podcast.
with them.
Yeah,
Just go
it's
ahead
just-
and introduce us to some of the people that we
Yeah,
need
no,
to talk
that's
to.
fine. That's
It's a
absolutely
shameless Chris,
fine.
and I love it.
Hey, why not, right?
No, I think with what we're doing, content creator series, obviously together with
Yeah.
the F1 game. I think, for the guys that don't know, we're building a platform that a lot of leagues and a lot of drivers can use to find leagues, because it's not the easiest place to do it. My Discord is spammed full of people going, "Oh, join this league," but
Yep.
with the central kind of place that you guys have built, will be great, and what you guys are building the system. We're working together towards. I think the next game will be really good, just an interactive aspect as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in the background.
That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, but yeah. So follow DurkChocolate. It's DURK.
It's
Just in case anyone
DURK,
wanted to do-
DurkChocolate, like dark chocolate, but with
the U.
play on the words.
Yeah. So go follow him on Twitch or Instagram, or like you said, you're not as active on Twitter, but yeah, that's content creator series is going to be a lot of fun. So if anyone hasn't
Yes,
checked that
watch
out
it.
quite yet, please go watch it. You will
It's so
become a
good.
fan
It's
You get
hilarious.
instantaneously.
Yeah. Sim racing often falls into the trap of taking itself a little too seriously.
Mhm.
You will not get that with this series.
Pure fun. Pure
The way we line up to the grid, I think, makes a statement for the rest of the race. Actually, with our 360s into the grid spot.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well,
I love it.
you make sure you're online though, not like 4 inches to the right or left. Right?
You know what? They've been trying to see how far we can get it. You can get it pretty far out and not get penalized. So no, we don't stick to that rule either.
No, not at all. Okay,
And the intermediate championships is also a thing on Q1. Yeah, it's so silly.
Cool. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. But we appreciate you being here, Dirk. And
Yeah,
I'm sure
thank you very
we'll be
much.
talking to you a lot more and seeing a lot more. Like you said, we're working together to build the league manager of Grid Finder and get the creator series and stuff on there. So awesome.
No, I
awesome
appreciate
time.
being here. It's been really good chatting to both of you. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And I'm looking forward to getting my shopping list of
yeah.
flying sim equipment after this.
We'll just drop you a line after this. I'll get you sorted.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Cheers for joining us.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that episode. Wow. The most interesting thing for me personally, because, for a while there, I was really trying to be a content creator, and hearing how Red Bull lets him and the other creators just be freely creative is really, I guess, refreshing when you think about it, because, you think these big companies like Red Bull would come in and be like, no, we want X, we want Y, we want Z.
Well, they
at this hour.
They obviously understand creativity, and they understand that you can't put creativity in a box, man.
Yeah.
The thing that I took away from that was I am going to start playing flight sims.
Oh, yes. So I will be honest with you. Flight sims, I do love them, but I specifically love the game Star Wars Squadrons because,
nice.
I'm a Star Wars fan, and I'm in an X-Wing, and it's just amazing.
Have you got a joystick for that?
I do not. I play in VR with a controller, which is the most, the strangest feeling way to play it.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. So I might actually be on the same trek of getting new things and mounting them to my sim rig
as an influencer. He has influenced us.
Yes, he did.
But not for sim racing.
So if the brands want to sponsor him and want to find out if he's influencing people, there you go. He is
if
definitely
Boeing are
pushing
listening.
us. Yeah, right. That was a great episode. Hopefully you all enjoyed that as well. Very, very eye-opening. We have a bunch of new guests coming this year. We have it scheduled out till I think June is what we were looking at. So lots and lots of guests this year. We appreciate you being here, watching or listening, whatever is your platform of choice. But if you're a driver out there and want to get involved in a couple more leagues, or you just need a change of day, go ahead and go to gridfinder.com to find any league simulator platform, day of choice. It's all there for you. We have over 3,000 leagues now, so we are growing rapidly. And if you want to fill up your grids as a league owner, go ahead and list your league on there and hopefully help us get to more and more leagues so that we can, help as many drivers as possible out there. Of course, we'd always like to thank the sponsor, Track Racer. If you want to upgrade your sim rig, change something about your sim rig, go to trackracer.com for that. But other than that, thanks for being here, and that'll do it for this week.
Goodbye.
See you later.